My beloved brothers and sisters, there are moments in life when a woman finds herself completely alone. The room is quiet, the phone is silent, and the hearts she once relied on are no longer there. It feels heavy, it feels empty, and sometimes it even feels unfair. But what if that loneliness is not a punishment? What if it is actually a moment of special attention from Allah? You see, when people walk away, it is not always a loss. Sometimes it is a clearing. Space is being made in your heart so that it can be filled with something far greater, a connection with Allah that no human being could ever replace. A woman alone is not weak. A woman alone with Allah is powerful beyond measure, because in that silence she begins to hear what the noise of the world once covered. She begins to feel a closeness that cannot be explained, only experienced when she raises her hands and no one else is watching. When tears fall and no one else understands, Allah understands every single drop. And that is enough. People may misunderstand you. They may leave you. They may fail you in ways you never expected. But Allah never fails, not once, not ever. So when you feel like you have no one, remind yourself you have the one who controls everyone. When your heart feels broken, know that Allah is the one who can heal it in ways no person can. When your path feels uncertain, remember that Allah sees what you cannot see. He knows why certain doors were closed, and He knows which ones are waiting to open. Sometimes Allah removes people from your life because He heard conversations you didn't. He saw intentions you couldn't, and in His mercy, He protected you, even if it hurt. So don't let loneliness make you feel worthless. Let it bring you closer to the one who gives you your worth. A woman who stands with Allah does not stand alone. She stands with the support of the one who created the heavens and the earth. She stands with the one who listens without judgment, who gives without limits, and who loves without conditions. And when you truly understand this, your loneliness transforms into peace. You begin to smile not because everything is perfect, but because you trust the one who is in control of everything. So if today you feel alone, don't rush to fill that emptiness with people. Fill it with Allah. Talk to Him. Cry to Him. Rely on Him. Because when no one is there, Allah alone is not just sufficient. He is everything you need. There are moments in life when loneliness feels overwhelming, almost like a heavy silence surrounding the heart. A woman may find herself sitting in a quiet room, reflecting on how people she once trusted are no longer present. The absence can feel painful, confusing, and even frightening. It is in these moments that negative thoughts begin to whisper, "Why am I alone? Have I been forgotten? Does anyone care?" But what if this loneliness is not what it seems? What if it is not abandonment, but rather an invitation from Allah Himself? Sometimes Allah removes the noise of people from our lives so that we can finally hear Him clearly. When life is full of distractions, conversations, and constant companionship, the heart often becomes occupied with everything except its Creator. We become so used to relying on others for comfort, validation, and support that we forget the one who is the true source of all peace. So Allah, in His wisdom and mercy, creates distance between you and the world, not to harm you, but to bring you closer to Him. Think about it. When everything is going well and people are around, how often do we truly turn to Allah with sincerity? But when loneliness strikes, when the heart feels empty and the eyes fill with tears, suddenly the connection with Allah becomes deeper. The du'as become more real, more desperate, more sincere. The conversations with Allah in the quiet of the night become longer, more meaningful. That loneliness pushes you towards the only door that is always open. And that is not a sign of rejection. It is a sign of being chosen. Allah is inviting you to a relationship that is pure, direct, and unbreakable. A relationship that does not depend on people's circumstances or conditions. When people walk away, they leave gaps. But when Allah calls you towards Him, He fills those gaps with something far more lasting, tranquility in the heart. Loneliness also reveals truths that we often ignore. It shows us where we place too much dependence on people. It uncovers expectations that were never meant to be fulfilled by human beings. Because no matter how much someone loves you, they are still human. They will fall short. They will make mistakes. They will leave at some point. But Allah never leaves. Not for a second. So when you feel alone, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" try asking, "What is Allah teaching me through this?" Perhaps He is teaching you to rely on Him alone. Perhaps He is strengthening your heart so that it does not break easily again. Perhaps He's preparing you for something greater, something that requires a stronger, more independent, more faithful version of you. There is a hidden beauty in loneliness when it is understood correctly. It becomes a space for reflection, for growth, for healing. It becomes a moment where your relationship with Allah is no longer secondary. It becomes central. You begin to realize that you were never truly alone to begin with. Because the one who created you, the one who knows every secret in your heart, the one who hears even the whispers you cannot express, He has been there all along. So do not fear loneliness. Embrace it with the understanding that it is not a sign of abandonment, but a personal call from Allah. A call to come closer, to trust Him more, to build a connection that no one can take away from you. And when you answer that call, you will discover something beautiful. The loneliness that once felt empty will begin to feel full of peace, full of purpose, and full of the presence of Allah. That's a bit low. There comes a time in life when a woman begins to notice a painful pattern. People she trusted slowly drift away. Promises are broken and the support she once relied on is no longer there. It can feel like the ground beneath her feet is shaking, like everything she thought was stable is suddenly uncertain. In those moments, the heart quietly asks, who is really there for me? And the answer, though often overlooked, is powerful. When people leave, Allah stays closer than ever before. Human beings are limited. No matter how sincere they may be, they are bound by their own zar of emotions and weaknesses. They get tired, distracted, overwhelmed. Sometimes they leave intentionally, and sometimes they fade away without even realizing the impact it has. But regardless of the reason, their absence leaves a space in the heart that feels impossible to fill. Yet, that very space is where the closeness of Allah begins to shine the most. Allah does not come and go. His presence is not conditional. He does not stay only when you are strong or leave when you are weak. In fact, it is often in your weakest moments that His closeness becomes more intense, more real, and more comforting. When you feel abandoned by people, Allah draws nearer, not physically, but in a way that your heart begins to feel His care more deeply than ever before. When no one checks on you, Allah is aware of every sigh. When no one listens to your pain, Allah hears every unspoken word. When no one understands your struggles, Allah knows every detail, past, present, and future. And this is not just awareness, it is rahmah, it is love, it is protection. Sometimes Allah removes people from your life not because you are unworthy of them, but because they are unworthy of the place they held in your heart. You may not see it immediately. In fact, it may hurt deeply at first, but with time, clarity begins to settle in. And you realize that what you thought was loss was actually protection. Allah sees what you do not see. He knows the intentions hidden behind smiles, the conversations that happen behind your back, and the paths that could have led you to harm. So He gently, sometimes suddenly, takes certain people out of your life, not to break you, but to save you. And in that space, they leave behind, Allah teaches you something invaluable. He teaches you that your qalbam should not depend on creation, but on the Creator. When you begin to understand this, something shifts inside you. You stop chasing people for validation. You stop depending on others for emotional stability. You begin to turn to Allah first, not last. Your you becomes you. Refuge, your sujood becomes your place of healing. Your connection with Allah becomes your strength. And that is a level of peace no human being can ever give you. Because when people stay, they can still hurt you. But when Allah stays, and He always does, He heals you, strengthens you, and elevates you. So if today you feel like people have left you, do not let that thought break you. Let it awaken you. Understand that their absence is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a deeper, more meaningful connection with the one who will never walk away. Allah, that's a bit low. You may not see Him, but His signs are everywhere. In the way your heart finds calm after chaos, in the way solutions appear when you feel lost, in the way strength rises within you when you thought you had none left. So hold on to that truth. People may come and go, but Allah remains. And when you truly hold on to Him, you will realize that even if the whole world walks away, you still have everything you need. There are moments when words fail when the heart is so full of emotion that it cannot form a single sentence. A woman may sit alone, her thoughts heavy, her chest tight, and her eyes quietly filling with tears. She may try to explain her pain, but no language seems enough. People might ask, what's wrong? And she may simply respond, nothing, because the truth feels too deep to put into words. But what she cannot express to people is never hidden from Allah. Silence to the world may seem empty, but with Allah, silence speaks. Those quiet moments when no sound leaves your lips are not moments of disconnection. They are moments of deep, unspoken communication. Allah understands what the tongue cannot say and what the mind struggles to organize. He knows the weight behind every breath, the meaning behind every pause, and the story behind every tear. Sometimes a woman does not need to raise her voice in dua for Allah to hear her voice, in dua for Allah to hear her. Her qalbum is already calling out. The heaviness she feels, the sadness she carries, the confusion she cannot resolve, all of it is already known to Him. Even before she turns to Him consciously, He is aware. Even before a tear falls, He knows why it is about to fall. And when that tear finally escapes, it is not unnoticed. Every tear that falls in loneliness, every tear shed in the darkness of the night, every tear wiped away before anyone can see. It is seen by Allah. And not only is it seen, but it is valued. Those tears are not a sign of weakness. They are a sign of a heart that still feels, a heart that still turns, even if silently, towards its Creator. There is something incredibly powerful about crying when no one is watching. No need to pretend, no need to explain, no need to hold back. In those moments, a woman is at her most real, her most vulnerable. And that is exactly where the connection with Allah becomes the strongest. Because Allah does not require perfect words. He does not need beautifully constructed sentences or eloquent expressions. He responds to sincerity. He responds to brokenness. He responds to the qalbum that turns to Him, even if it is shattered into pieces. Sometimes the most powerful dua is the one that is never spoken. It is the tear that falls during sujood. It is the sigh that escapes in the middle of the night. It is the silent plea in the heart that says, Ya Allah, you know. And that is enough, more than enough. People may misunderstand your silence. They may think you are distant, cold, or unaffected. They may not realize the storm that is quietly raging inside you. But Allah knows. He always knows. There is no mask before Him, no hidden layer, no misunderstood emotion. And in that understanding, that is comfort. You do not have to explain yourself to Allah. You do not have to justify your feelings. You do not have to find the right words. Just being in His presence, even in silence, is an act of ibadah. Just turning your heart towards Him, even without speech, is a form of dua. Over time, a woman begins to realize that her quiet moments are not empty after all. They are filled with a connection that is deeper than any conversation she could have with people. Her tears become a means of purification, her silence becomes a language, and her qalb becomes a bridge between her and Allah. So when you find yourself unable to speak, when your pain feels too heavy to share, do not think that you are alone or unheard. Turn inward, turn upward, and trust that Allah is listening in ways no human ever could. Because your silence is not silent to Him. And your tears are never invisible. They are seen, they are understood, and they are answered in ways that will come to you at the right time, in the most beautiful form. There are times when a woman begins to measure her worth through the presence or absence of people in her life. When someone stays, she feels valued. When someone leaves, she begins to question herself. She wonders, was I not enough? Did I do something wrong? Why wasn't I worth staying for? These thoughts can quietly take root in the heart, slowly affecting how she sees herself. But the truth is far deeper and far more powerful than that. Your worth has never been defined by who stays in your life, and it will never be reduced by who walks away. Human beings are not the ma'yar of your value. They are imperfect, emotional, and limited in their understanding. Sometimes people leave not because you lack worth, but because they lack the ability to recognize it. Sometimes they walk away due to their own dafef, their own confusion, or their own zaraf, and sometimes Allah removes them because they were never meant to be part of your journey. So why should your value be tied to something so unstable? Your worth comes from the one who created you. the one who formed you with precision, who placed your ruha within you, who gave you a qalbum that feels, loves and hopes. You are not random. You are not accidental. You were created with purpose, with intention and with care. When Allah created you, He did not create something worthless. He created something honored. Think about it. The same Allah who created the vast skies, the powerful oceans, and the countless stars also created you. And He did not make a mistake. Every part of you, every strength you carry, every softness within you, it all has a reason. So when someone fails to see your value, it does not mean it is not there. It simply means they were not meant to see it. A diamond does not lose its worth if someone mistakes it for a stone. Its value remains the same, regardless of who recognizes it. In the same way, your worth remains intact no matter who walks away from you. The problem begins when you start seeking validation from people instead of seeking it from Allah. When your happiness depends on someone staying, your heart becomes fragile. It becomes dependent on something that can change at any moment. But when your worth is rooted in your relationship with Allah, it becomes thabit, unshaken by the actions of others. Allah values you in ways no human ever can. He listens to you when no one else does. He responds to you when no one else understands. He forgives you when you make mistakes. He gives you chances again and again without ever making you feel worthless. And most importantly, He never abandons you. So instead of asking, why did they leave me? Begin to ask, what does Allah want me to learn from this? Instead of questioning your value, strengthen your connection with the one who gave you that value in the first place. When you begin to see yourself through the lens of your relationship with Allah, everything changes. You stop begging for attention. You stop lowering your standards just to keep people around. You stop fearing loneliness because you realize that your worth does not decrease in solitude. A woman who understands her value through Allah walks differently. She carries herself with quiet confidence, not arrogance, but certainty. She knows that even if the whole world fails to recognize her, the one who matters most never will. So do not let the courage of people make you doubt yourself. Do not let their absence define your identity. You are not valuable because someone stayed. You are valuable because Allah created you. And that is a worth that no one can take away, no matter who comes or goes in your life. There are moments in a woman's life when hardships do not come one after another, but all at once. Tests arrive from different directions, emotional pain, broken relationships, unanswered prayers, silent struggles that no one seems to notice. It becomes overwhelming. At times, she may sit and wonder why life feels so heavy, why the road seems so difficult, and why she has been chosen to carry so much. But what she may not realize in that moment is that these hardships are not here to break her. They are here to build her. Hardships have a way of shaping a person in ways that ease never can. When everything is comfortable, the soul often becomes relaxed, sometimes even heedless. But when trials come, they awaken something deeper within. They push a woman to reflect, to grow, to reconnect with Allah in ways she never did before. What feels like pressure is often a process of purification. Just like gold is placed in fire to remove its impurities, a believer is tested to refine the heart. The fire is not there to destroy the gold. It is there to make it shine. In the same way, the challenges a woman faces are not meant to erase her strength, but to reveal it. With every hardship, patience begins to develop. And patience is not simply waiting without complaint. It is trusting Allah even when things do not make sense. It is holding on even when the qalbum feels tired. It is continuing to believe that there is wisdom behind every delay, every loss, every difficulty. And through patience, strength is born. A woman who has faced pain and still chooses to stand, still chooses to turn back to Allah. She is not the same person she was before. She becomes stronger, not because life became easier, but because her reliance on Allah became deeper. Hardships also teach reliance. When all doors seem closed and no one can fix what you are going through, you begin to understand that your true dependence is not on people, but on Allah alone. You begin to raise your hands with more sincerity, your heart more habar, your tears more meaningful. You begin to see that even in the darkest moments, Allah is providing a noya of strength you did not know you had. And that realization changes everything. Because once a woman understands that her strength comes from Allah, she no longer fears hardship in the same way. She may still feel pain. She is human after all, but she is no longer defeated by it. She knows that every test carries a lesson. every difficulty carries a purpose, and every moment of patience is being seen and rewarded by Allah. Sometimes hardships also protect. What feels like a delay may be saving you from something harmful. What feels like a loss may be removing something that would have brought greater pain later. Allah's wisdom is far beyond what we can see, and His plans are always rooted in mercy, even when they are difficult to understand. So D of asking, why is this happening to me? A woman begins to ask, how is this shaping me? She begins to see her struggles not as punishments, but as opportunities to grow closer to Allah, to strengthen her iman, and to build a character that can tahammul anything with dignity and grace. And over time, something beautiful happens. The same hardships that once brought her to tears begin to bring her closer to peace. The same struggles that once felt unbearable begin to feel meaningful. She starts to see how far she has come, how much she has grown, and how her relationship with Allah has deepened in ways she never imagined. So do not underestimate your hardships. Do not see them as signs of weakness or failure. They are part of your journey, part of your growth, part of your transformation. Because a woman who is shaped by trials, strengthened by patience, and connected to Allah is not easily shaken. She becomes resilient. She becomes wise. She becomes strong. Not because life was easy, but because through every difficulty, she held on to the one who never let go of her. There comes a point in a woman's journey where she begins to understand a truth that changes everything. Not everyone who walks beside you is meant to stay. Not every door you knock on will open, and not every qalb you rely on will hold you. At first, this realization can feel unsettling. It can create a sense of emptiness, as if something is missing. But with time, that emptiness begins to transform into something far more powerful: certainty. Certainty that Allah alone is enough. This does not mean that the woman no longer needs people or that she isolates herself from the world. Rather, it means that her qalbam is no longer dependent on people for its peace. She understands that while people can support, love and accompany her, they are not her foundation. Her foundation is Allah. And when that foundation is Allah, and when that foundation is Allah, and when that ion is strong, everything else becomes easier to handle. When Allah is enough for you, your fears begin to shrink. You no longer panic over who left or who stayed, because your qalbik is anchored in something thabit, something unchanging. You begin to realize that rizq, love, opportunities, and even companionship are all in the control of Allah. What is written for you will find you, and what is not meant for you will never stay, no matter how much you try to hold on to it. This understanding brings a knock of peace that is difficult to describe. It is not the absence of problems, but the presence of trust. You may still go through challenges. You may still feel moments of sadness. But deep inside, there is a calm reassurance. Allah is with me. And that is enough. When a woman reaches this level of reliance, her relationship with Allah becomes her greatest source of strength. Her prayers are no longer rushed. They become her refuge. Her sujood is no longer just a routine. It becomes a place where she pours her heart out without hesitation. She speaks to Allah about everything, the big and the small, the high and the hidden, knowing that He listens without judgment and responds with wisdom. And in that connection, she finds completeness. People often search for completeness in others. They believe that another person will fill their emptiness, heal their wounds, and bring them lasting happiness. But human beings, no matter how sincere, are not designed to carry that responsibility. They can be part of your happiness, but they cannot be the source of it. Only Allah can fill that space completely. Because Allah's presence does not come with conditions. He does not love you only when you are perfect, nor does He turn away when you make mistakes. His mercy is constant, His care is continuous, and His support never weakens. When you turn to Him, you are turning to the one who knows you better than you know yourself, who understands your needs before you even express them. And that is why relying on Allah brings a deeper sense of fulfillment than relying on anything else. A woman who believes that Allah is enough carries herself differently. She does not chase people for attention or beg for Muhammad. She does not compromise her values just to avoid being alone. She knows that whatever Allah has planned for her will come in the right way at the right time. And until then, she is content with His presence. This contentment does not mean she has everything she wants. It means she trusts the one who controls everything she needs. So even when life feels uncertain, even when the future is unclear, even when the path seems lonely, she walks forward. Broad with confidence. Not because she has all the answers, but because she knows the one who does. The one who does. And that is the beauty of believing that Allah is enough. It frees you from the khawf of loss, from the pain of constant disappointment, and from the pressure of seeking validation from creation. It fills your qalb with a strength that cannot be shaken by circumstances. So if you ever feel like you have no one, remind yourself of this powerful truth. You have Allah. And when you truly have Him, you are not lacking anything. Because Allah alone is not just sufficient. He is more than enough in every moment, in every situation, and in every part of your journey. In the end, a woman may walk through phases of deep loneliness, silent pain, and unanswered questions. She may experience nasat leaving, hearts breaking, and paths becoming uncertain. But through all of this, one truth remains satip and unchanging. She was never truly alone. Every moment of silence carried a hidden conversation with Allah. Every tear that fell was seen, counted, and understood. Every hardship was shaping her into someone stronger, wiser, and closer to her Creator. And every person who left made space for a deeper realization that her worth was never in their presence, but in the one who created her. What once felt like emptiness was, in reality, a da'wah towards something greater. A da'wah to rely, to trust, to connect, and to find peace not in people, but in Allah alone. So she rises, not because life became easy, but because her iman became strong. She learns to walk forward with dignity, with patience, and with quiet strength, knowing that whatever she faces, Allah is with her. And when a woman truly understands that Allah is enough, everything changes. Her qalb finds peace even in storms. Her soul finds comfort even in solitude. And her life finds direction even in uncertainty. Because when no one is there, Allah is there. And when Allah is there, you are never alone. You are supported, protected, and completely cared for in ways beyond what the heart can imagine.